Author Angela Duckworth says that grit is one of the most important attributes if you want to succeed. So let me ask you this question. When was the last time you felt relentless? When was the last time you stopped at nothing to get to your goal? You let no obstacle get in the way. If you can't answer that question, or if it was a long time ago, keep watching, because the answer to this question is something that I've recently pondered, and I think I have something to say now. A long time ago, if I really had to think about, well, when was the last time I truly felt relentless? It was probably in grade 12. This is like a decade ago, more than a decade ago. I was sitting in line to take graduation photos, and I remember holding a PlayStation Portable. I was playing a game called Gran Turismo. It's a game where you have cars and you join races and you get money for winning the races that you can use to buy better cars. And I really wanted this Suzuki Escudos Pikes Peak. It was one of the fastest cars in the game. And it was not the most expensive one, but it was kind of worth it. It had 1,000 horsepower. And now, normally, the way we're supposed to play the game is we're supposed to win races, buy better cars, get better cars, and then earn more money, win more different races, get another better car, and eventually we work our way up, right? Kind of like a video game. Well, it is a video game, but kind of like a video game in which we like level up, like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, right? Like ascending difficulty. That's not how I got the car, though. I sat down and I figured out that if I played the same oval racetrack about 1,000 times, I forget the exact number, then I would have enough money to buy the car. And so that's what I did for the whole month. I got the car. Now, I wish I had brought the same intensity to work, to business, to finances, and relationship sooner. It's almost like as we grow up, we forget our own capacity to be relentless. But I assure you, it's there. And it took a little bit of rediscovery, a little bit of research to kind of figure out the specific tactics or actions that I plan to take in the future if I want to be relentless. And it's a good skill to have, because if a goal is too easy, then it's probably not worthwhile. And if you have set a worthwhile aim for your life, whether it's in service of something greater than yourself that's motivating you to move forward, or kind of anything else that requires lots of work over extended periods of time, that requires you to be the boss of yourself, to tell yourself to do what you need to do and to do it well over a long period of time, then you better have the skill of relentlessness, the skill of grit, discipline, and resilience. And the good news is, it's a skill. And so the first thing that I really understood or accepted is the idea that I'm gonna fail a lot. And I know people sometimes say, go big or go home, but when it comes to something you haven't practiced in decades, it's okay for it to not work the first time or the 10th. Just accepting that you won't be perfect will give you the permission to try and continue taking massive action towards whatever goal. And I remember when I was in my heyday in university, when I worked out and all of that, I remember doing like, don't laugh, it's not that impressive, but I remember doing like 30 push-ups. Not bad. Now I can barely do 10, and I'm not proud of it, but I'm telling you because I went to the gym 2 days ago and I can't lift as heavy anymore. And while I'm there, I really felt out of place. I felt like if somebody that knew me saw me, they'd be like, why are you at the gym? You don't look like someone that goes to the gym. And they'd be right, because I'm not, but I used to be, right? And if I wanted to start again, then I need to start at 4 kilograms and not 15, you know what I mean? And that's okay, right? And like progress is not failure, right? And so like the first thing you have to accept is that like if you're setting a high bar, accept that you'll fail. But if you're setting a low bar, and then you'll succeed, and you can raise that bar as you move forward. And so often I've set lofty goals and I attack them with like ferocious intensity. Like I'm gonna go to the gym 5 days a week for 45 minutes every day, or I'm gonna write 5,000 words a day, so I'll have a book in a week. That maybe will last 3 days. And at the end of the day, it's more rational to write 500 words a day for a whole year than it is to write 1,000 words a day for 5 days. You'll end up with more, right? Because it's not just about how many words you write, it's not just about how much you do, it's about how many times you do it as well, and how consistent it is, and how you can build an automatic habit over time. And so that's number one. The second thing is I had to sit down and think about why I wanted to do it. Why did I race the car like 1,000 times to get the car? Was it really the car that I wanted, or was it just the fact that I wanted to show my peers that I had a PlayStation Portable that I could be playing whenever I wanted to, and that I didn't really care about school, or at least I presented the perception to others that I didn't really care about school, but in reality I did, and I got good grades. I just didn't show that, which in some weird, disturbing sense made me feel better being perceived as someone that didn't need to work hard to get good grades. Thinking back, it's stupid to even do that, right? And so I had to think about what I really want, right? So for example, starting a business, continuing to upload on this YouTube channel. What do I really want? Well, one thing I really want is I want a successful business, right? But oftentimes, a compelling future doesn't have anything to do with you. And so another thing that I really want, perhaps even more than the successful business, that is the ability to have this documentation of my life be a guide to my son in the future as he struggles with relentlessness and discipline. Because believe it or not, I deeply believe that it's a universal problem. And so, hey, if you're struggling with it, here you go. So have a compelling future. Like, what do you want? How do you want to serve? And chances are, if you're stuck, then maybe the cost of inaction is too low, right? Maybe not doing what you want to do will help you end up in a future that you can tolerate. Maybe it's that, right? Maybe that's what you need. Better future to look forward to. And then number 3, make it easy. So willpower is a muscle. When I think about why I make these YouTube videos, a few reasons come up. Yes, I want to build an audience. Yes, I want to eventually make money. But again, the coolest part is having a library of content that my son can see in the future. And does my son care about crazy editing and subtitles and that stuff? Well, no. Right? Like if he's got a problem and he wants it solved, then he should be willing to put the 15 minutes in to watch what his dad has to say, right? Or that applies to anyone, right? Like if you want to solve an important problem in your life and you don't have 15 minutes to sit down or 20 minutes to sit down and like figure it out, then maybe you don't deserve to have that problem be solved. You know what I mean? In this day and age, it's so common. Like people want a quick fix, but the quickest fix is actually the hard way of practice over a long period of time. That is literally the quickest fix, not buying a course, right? If you buy a course on discipline, it's just gonna tell you practice over a long period of time. And that's it, right? Like, what does it feel easy for you to do? And you know, like going to the gym might be hard, right? But what about doing a push-up at home? What feels easy to do that will move you towards the goal, no matter how small a step it is, right? I think that's an emphasis that I have throughout, because that's actually how people change, is they do what they are willing to do to change. And for a long time, we haven't been heading in the right direction. Then turning around is really, really hard. And so rightfully so, that we should only take a very, very small step. Number 4, change your state. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it actually works. Our physiology actually affects our psychology, and both of those come together to affect what we do and our mood. And if we do the right things, we get what we want. If we don't, then we don't, right? And so I used to think Tony Robbins was a charlatan and that people that followed him were in a cult, because every video I would watch would be like him getting people to like jump up and down and like wave their hands, and people would be like crying, and I'd be like, man, like that doesn't even happen at church. What's happening there, right? That's just because I didn't understand that our physiological state affects our psychology. And Tony Robbins really just found a way to change people's physiology. And so this is not like some woo-woo advice. It's like empirically proven that power poses, like if you pose like Superman, as crazy as that sounds and as embarrassing as that looks in your mind, if you actually do it in front of the mirror for like 3 minutes, you will feel more confident. Your brain will release serotonin. Your posture does matter. Like that's the crazy part, is that that stuff actually works. And so if you change your physiology, then it will increase the probability that you'll get started on your goals. And so like, go jump up and down for like 20 seconds right now, and then get to your goal. Like get started, take the first step and see what happens. Number 5, and so this is the last one, is pursue flow. Now, flow is a thing, right? Like scholars describe it as when you're doing something and time seems to pass by quickly and you're deeply concentrated and the task feels effortless. I'd like to add that the reason why we interrupt our own flow is because we judge ourselves. I don't think people are born with unique flow state tasks. Obviously, this is not psychological research. I'm not giving you like a conclusion of a study. It's just what I've observed in my own life and others. I do fully believe that flow states can be developed for any task and eventually, right? Like obviously it's easier to go into flow state for easier tasks. If you ask me to solve a physics problem, I will not be in flow state because I didn't learn physics, right? But if I did learn physics and you gave me a physics problem, I might go into flow state as I solve it, right? The key is leaning into you, right? Like I don't know physics, and so there's no way in heaven or hell that working on a physics problem is gonna give me flow state, and because that's just not me. And so you really have to like ask yourself, like sit down and like look at your mental image of yourself and ask, what does living an authentic life look like? And then you follow your intuition and you work it out in your mind and you end up with a list of things you're willing to do and the amount of time you're willing to do them for. And then you don't worry about the external judgment because simply doing those tasks for that amount of time will have inherent value. Like it will make you feel good, right? Like recording this video, talking to you makes me feel good because it's my way of putting out messages that transformed me into the world. Helping one person at a time, right? Starting with me. Do it. Just do it, because simply doing it is rewarding. And so if that's where you push your mind, you'll be able to enter a flow state for a wide variety of tasks. You'll be more productive, you'll be more creative, you'll be more original, because I'm not thinking about how many views and subscribers this is gonna get. I'm thinking about how can I tell the truth, period. And in the same way, like if you're exercising, you shouldn't be thinking about how many pounds you'll lose over the month. At least not in the beginning. You should just be thinking about like, did I get to the gym today successfully or not, right? And chances are, if you got yourself there, then you would have done something, right? Like you might not have done every exercise that you wanted to do perfectly, but you did something, and something is infinitely better than nothing, right? And so given all of this, what can you do now? I'm sure you have something you want in the distant future. Like I'm sure you're able to set an aim for yourself that you are not yet at, you have not yet achieved, and which implies that there is a next step you can take to move you closer to get there. And so take the first step now and come alongside me to see how far we can go together.